And it's not stuff that's happened to other people. This is just personally to me from people that are trying to get me to agree with them. And I think a lot of the time I can't agree with someone that looks like they absolutely hate me. I don't know why people even think that's even going to work.
One of the craziest things I've seen during this election cycle is somebody was interviewed from a polling place, and they said, like, hey, you're a Latino male, why do you want to vote for Republicans? And he said, because the Democrats make me feel bad about who I am. Yeah. How crazy is that?
That's one of the reasons why I left the Democrats in 2011. That's crazy. Because I started to see, because I would watch, the Republican primary and the Democrat primary, because I was just seeing, and then Ron Paul was popping out.
The best.
Maybe it was 2012, but he started coming out. Yep. And I was like, oh, this guy's kind of cool. Like, he's talking about going back to the gold standard, and like, whether it was real or not, he had very revolutionary ideas that were like, why are we spending so much on military? And I was like, I've never heard any politician say these things. And then so I was like, who is this guy? Oh, he's a libertarian. What's a libertarian? And I started looking into it. When I talked to my friends, I would share these ideas, and then they would literally look at me and say like, why you jumping ship, like that's white supremacy, all this stuff. And I'm like, hold up, like how is this white supremacy? Like it has nothing to do with race. Mm-hmm. And then I started thinking like, wait a minute, like I never had a choice. I was born into being a Democrat. Why is that? Yeah. And I think I told you this too, like when I was in elementary school, we were taught about like voting and all that, and they had, these are what Republicans are, these are what Democrats are. And I specifically remember that I was like, oh, at the time I loved G.I. Joe, so I like the guns, right? So I'm like, oh, Republicans, they like the guns, and also they like Jesus. And I go to church. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I'm a Republican. And I remember being shamed by my teacher to go Democrat.
Whoa. You remember what I remember in elementary school? It was, they were trying to teach us this, and then we all voted, like, if we wanted George Bush or Bill Clinton. That's when they were running. Mm-hmm. And they said, like, what's Republican? Republican, they care about the rich people. Right. What's the Democrat? Yeah. The Democrat cares about the working class people.
That's what I thought.
And that's how boiled down it is, and that's how soon and how early you get indoctrinated. So you're like, of course I'm going to be a Democrat. Yeah. I don't care about those rich people that don't care about me.
Brainwashing starts in schools.
That's how simple it was.
Yeah.
Didn't care about policy.
When I look back, I was like, dude, like, why? Okay, so why does it have to be so race-based? And then, so the biggest question that I had was, and I used to think this too, is if you're a minority who votes Republican, you're a race traitor. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
that's how they make you feel.
Why is that a thing? Like, it's like you can't choose anything else other than the left. And I was like, but that's not diversity, because is it real diversity when you're black, Asian, whatever, and you're being represented in all parts of American government, all political parties, everything, and then we're sprinkled all over the place, and then, you're challenging based on thoughts, not because of the color of your skin. Yeah. That's when I was like, oh, this is a weird kind of like, hey, stay on our team because this is what we do, and don't question it because this is what Asians do. Right. And I'm just, I didn't like that anymore,
That's what Asians do,
Yeah. And it's like, oh, and then, oh, look, that guy's a Republican. Oh, he's a white worshiper. He's like, they don't even listen to his ideas. Is because, oh, he just wants to be white. And I'm like, that's not even an intelligent conversation. Yeah.
Dude, sometimes I think they purposely just say shit to push people's buttons emotionally, just to get them on their side. Doesn't matter if there's logic, knowledge, or whatever. And they just want to say shit like hot words, race, this, that.
White supremacy was the biggest one. That's why I'm like, I just can't get on board with anybody that really thinks white supremacy is a cause for everything.
Dude, but that's the thing. People get so emotional, and like they go into that emotion of anger and whatever, to the point where they're not even thinking about what they're saying and how they're echoing other people. And like that's the crazy part to me. Like they don't understand that they're just copying other people just to be on this one side.
It avoids a lot of accountability, and I think personally for me, I blame myself for pretty much everything that goes wrong in my life. And I think I already don't match the left because of that. And a lot of things that happen for the left is because of a systemic thing, or I don't have that ideology for myself in the universe.
But it does make sense that yes, there's probably something wrong with the system that causes people to behave a certain way, right? And that's probably what they're angry about, But then that's because that's just how they see it, and we don't see it like that.
If there wasn't anything wrong with the system, nobody would want to fix it. But it's just, to me, it's just about like, how can you actually address problems?
But I don't think that fuels your decision every time. I think the problems in the system force you to come to a unique crossroads, but your choice is always the one that matters.
And productive people always take adversity and just fucking do whatever they're going to do.
I think it comes down to like what type of person you are really, and then that's how you get swayed to either side. You know?
That's why Nick that's why Nick got punched to the right, they say. Punch to the right.
When I think about what a Democrat is, right, I think it's like they still believe in free market economy, and then they just want a fair shot for the working person, and they want representation for the working class people. But when it gets to this militant socialist mentality of like race-based and, you know, identity politics, that's when I'm just like, I don't like that culture.
But bro, everything they fought for, right? Obamacare. It was written by the insurance companies.
Like, well, that's where the corporatist stuff comes in.
So it's like, you got your win, you think, but you're not getting your socialist win.
And it happened on both sides, which made me super jaded.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And doesn't it happen a lot too when there is an election and then the candidates that are running are saying, I'm gonna fight for this, I'm gonna fight for this,
we just
blah, blah,
saw
blah.
that.
And then when they actually go into office, none of that shit actually happens.
Joe Biden just did this. Hey, Trump is against democracy. He's a tyrant. He's a fucking Hitler guy. Hey, congratulations, well done.
I voted for you.
Yeah, which is cool. But then, like,
no, it is cool. Every election, it's like it happens.
But
every
people don't
time.
understand that they're being used like emotionally,
Weaponized.
and weaponized, and like it's all part of the model.
Yeah.
The convention model is to emotionally attach to a candidate. I've been saying this for years. So that you really want to vote. You want to vote more than ever because you're emotionally attached.
Yeah.
And that makes you like run into the voters box and like go, oh, I'm going.
But even when you look like election week and post-election week, it's really interesting to see because you start to see, and I like to ask people like, why are you voting for this person? Why are you voting for this person? And a lot of it is very emotional based. And especially a lot of my friends that were voting very like Kamala based, they were very thinking about like the emotions of the bad sides of Trump versus like what are some policies that you really like from Kamala or from the blue side? Or whatever.
It never is.
They're more counter arguments.
Exactly, and that was the perfect analogies. Like it is a lot of reaction rather than like these are my thoughts, these are my plans, this is my way to do it. And I feel like the media on that side too kind of sides that favorable, like it sides the race baiting. And they weaponize it because it's an easier argument, and that's what gets people so emotionally.
By the way, what the hell did George W. Bush run on? If you remember, and you're probably like 5 years old or something. He ran on. We need to make Washington more decent because Bill Clinton just got a blowjob in the Oval Office.
So they just
you know what I mean?
counter whatever.
It was
they
the
were
same
doing.
thing.
Yeah.
And guess what? Al Gore ran on policy.
Yeah.
He ran on like let's put Social Security into a lockbox so we can actually keep it solvent. He actually ran on policy, but like at the time. George Bush was more effective at running the emotion against the American people, and that's what won.
Because we were still in a war and all that. Yeah.
And it fucking worked. And
well, I mean, with politics, what I've learned about it is it's not about convincing the other side. It's about getting your party to go vote.
That's it. Emotionally radicalizing them.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the catch-22.
That's what
right?
gets the
'Cause
result.
You
It
got
does.
people
it works
are
people
are kind of primal to where the fear, all that, that's what they respond to. So the campaign is gonna go that way, or else no one's gonna actually vote. And then that's where my cynical side goes, do we even deserve this system? Because people are too fucking lazy if they're not activated to do it.
But people didn't show up for Kamala because it wasn't effective.
Yeah.
People go,
that's right.
cool, like, that doesn't help me buy groceries.
And Trump would like talk about that stuff.
it.
And I think that's the reason why they won.
to people.
Like,
And I
yeah,
think-
it was the simplest issue.
A billionaire related to people better than Kamala Harris did.
He's really good at marketing. Very good.
But also, we're not Trumpers in a way where like, he can do no wrong. I think, hey, he's in now. Let's see what MAGA can do.
I'm not emotionally attached to anybody.
No.
Nope.
I just wanted my fucking cryptos to go up, and they did.
It went huge.
Fucking did. And I knew they would.
But going back to that Trump point is like, I just feel like objectively, whether you agree with either side or not, they had more of the momentum of the talking points. They had like a story. It was just like, it was just better marketing.
Dude,
yeah, and
we got
people,
brainwashed.
no, and people got really behind it. Like the fact like when you look at people that supported Kamala, they just didn't seem very passionate. The people that supported Trump, they were fucking fired up. They were like, they were excited to go vote. That
Which is why people think that it's a cult.
Yeah, but on either side, depending on who it is, if you switch it for blue or red, I think it's the same story. Like Obama, the reason why he swept everybody was there was a story like you can get behind. The American, exactly, the American people.
Let's fix it.
We all want the same things.
Who's the change candidate?
Yeah,
it's not gonna be John McCain, brother.
Dude, the crazy thing is like one side is more sensible or like at least realizes that we're all being manipulated, but from both sides, you know.
Both sides know how to manipulate.
Everyone's trying to get you, bro.
But one side can sell better than the other.
Yep,
That's the game.
Depending on what's going on. And some people have the temerity to know that, and some people don't.
I've never had a problem with like someone on the opposite side of something.
Never.
I have a problem with someone not being able to get along with me over someone that's so fucking far from you and doesn't give a shit. You know, like I can get along with you no matter what you think, but then something on like that's why I really wish that Dems would look at themselves hardcore for this one, because now that it's all over, let's just fucking go back to being nice to each other.
That's what really needs to happen.
Let's just go back to that, because that's when you can really find actual progressive thought, not when we're all just trying to like win. You know, like I don't.
But that's what I wanted to go back to too.
I think
Everyone kind of feels that sentiment as well.
people have been radicalized to the point where now they believe that the other side are a bunch of demons, and that's when it gets dangerous. Because like if you know, a lot of the arguments that I do hear is how can you support someone who's against human rights, who's against who's like whatever, right? So these are words that are so
Very powerful.
you paint a picture of a person so evil and wrong, we're associated with that. Now, I mean, I can see why someone tried to assassinate Trump. It's like, hey, we're trying to stop Hitler. It's not just the American candidate that like we're voting for and we have a couple of differences. Now it's like you guys are evil. And I think that is why it justifies them in their mind to go, fuck you guys. I don't want to be your friend anymore.
But then guess what? They'll huddle up with the Cheneys.
Which is weird.
Who murdered 1 million people in Iraq.
Which is weird.
Right? Like we went to a war in Iraq and we murdered 1 million people there. Like you can, it's objectively a fact. So like the fact that they go like, oh, that's okay because that was then or whatever.
No, I actually think I know the reason why.
Yeah, please.
I think it's because if you're Gen Z, you don't know what the past was. So what you see as a confirmation of, look, even Republicans don't support Trump. That's what makes him an evil person. They don't know the Cheneys and the stuff that we know, and we didn't like the Republicans for that reason.
Dude, this is like some Attack on Titan shit, man. You guys need to watch that shit. It's like
we'll watch it.
how
Send
shit
to me.
repeats, and then the new generation forgets that this is what it's the same shit.
It is it is
Every country.
Let's watch it right now.
Dude, let's go.
We're gonna watch it right now.
Live reaction.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how people fall for the political theater shit every time.